In the last Extra Channel video where we showed you wrapping the race car, somebody asked what the meaning of the 42 was, where that came from. And it made me realize that I've never told that story in a video. I've told that story in live streams we've done before, but I've never really explained it somewhere that was easy or searchable to find. Before the YouTube channel, I only had Instagram. That was my primary platform. I think before I started a YouTube channel, I had like 25,000 followers on Instagram from the Escalade stuff. And you would be surprised that none of that helped me get my channel going faster. I posted videos for 6 months and only got like 200, 300 views. It was very different than what I expected. I thought, oh, I got all these followers on Instagram. When I make YouTube, they'll just go watch Escalade stuff over there. Nope, didn't work like that at all. I wanted all of my pages to be congruent. I liked the legacy type usernames of channels better. Like back in the days of YouTube, like, 2011, 2012, before the Google integration happened where they started taking your Google profile name and making it your YouTube page name. Back in the early days of YouTube, you just had a username. It didn't allow you to have any spaces in it. It was like almost like a message board forum type username or something like that. You know what I mean? And I thought, okay, instead of changing my Instagram to say Stapleton Auto Works, because that's what my YouTube channel was titled as before. It actually changed a couple different times. I made that channel in 2017, but I never really posted anything on it. Back then I had intent to do YouTube, but I was lazy and I didn't do it because I had a Windows computer, and anything I tried to film with my phone to like get it to import to Windows, it was just such a pain in the butt. Like I had to email clips to myself and I just didn't like, it was clunky. I didn't know how to do it and I gave up before I ever even started. That actually has a lot to do with the story of when I lived in Oklahoma and I dropped out of college and I went to the Oklahoma City Apple store and bought the cheapest MacBook they had so I would be able to edit videos easier from my phone and use a GoPro so I didn't have to worry about my phone. And it just, a whole different story, which I could tell on the video too if you want to hear it. Let me know if you want to hear it. But back to the origin of the 42. I know I could just tell you where it came from, but I want you to know the whole story of how it evolved to be Stapleton42 instead of the Stapleton Auto Works YouTube channel or something like that. The Escalade's name, branded name, was LS Escalade. That's what I came up with for it. That's what my Facebook page was called. I did not rename my Instagram LS Escalade because I felt like that would pigeonhole me. Because even back then, I knew that that wasn't going to be the only thing that I did or ever wanted to do. So I didn't want to be known as LS Escalade. When I went to go build something else, then my page doesn't apply to that. So I never did that. So my Facebook page was called LS Escalade. Then I changed it to Stapleton42 LS Escalade. And then probably like a year after that, I dropped the LS Escalade off of it. So everything was cohesive. And when I started to post on YouTube, I thought, I want that legacy username. I'm gonna roll with Stapleton42 to keep it the same as my Instagram. And then I have a number attached to me that can be my number for things in the future. Like something like this. It's always on my mind. But where did the 42 come from? How long have I been using it? When did I pick it? Before it was my Instagram name, it was my hockey number. When I played hockey, like here, I'll give you a brief history of my favorite numbers growing up. My first favorite number that I recall having, well, I guess technically, the first time I drew a car that was supposed to be me driving it with a number on it, the number on the car was 14. And I never went through a phase of my life where like that was my favorite number. I just kind of picked it because that's what Rick Crawford's number was, and my dad knew Rick Crawford's manager, and We got to like play around in the hauler and poke buttons in the backup truck and stuff. That was the only connection I had to NASCAR. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I want to grow up and drive the 14 truck in the Craftsman Truck Series. That's what I want to do. Now Rick Crawford is Chomo, and that's all freaking ridiculous. Kind of destroyed any cool stories I had about that, because back then that was cool. Anyway, that's a story for a different video. And then I decided I liked number 21. I think like one of my friends' favorite number was 20, and I had to pick a number for something, and I was like, oh, I'll pick 21 just because it's the one after yours. And Kevin Harvick comes into the Busch Series. What number is he using? 21. Like, oh, dude has my favorite number in the Busch Series. And then that just reinforced the fact that I liked the number 21. And then I got older, stopped really paying attention to racing, started playing, video games like the Madden and the NHL stuff, and, try to get myself interested in sports because that's what all the cool kids did. And you got laughed at for liking NASCAR stuff in Pittsburgh. I had no friends that enjoyed it. So if I didn't want to be a weird outcast, I had to try to pretend to be somebody else. I remember specifically playing Madden on PlayStation 2, and John Lynch of the Denver Broncos was number 47. And I just thought it looked good on a jersey. And I remember being on vacation when I was real little, probably like 7, at Universal Studios. They had that NBA restaurant, and we went there for whatever reason one time because they had the NASCAR cafe thing too, but we went there every time. So we thought, oh, let's try the NBA one this time. And they had the gift shop in there. And I remember one of the Detroit Pistons players, Jerry Stackhouse, they had Stackhouse jerseys in there, and he was number 42. And I didn't know anything about the NBA. I didn't know who Jerry Stackhouse was. I just saw the jersey hanging on the wall that said Stackhouse 42, and I just thought that it was like a good-looking number. For whatever reason in my mind, at 47 and 42, just like I felt drawn to them, that they were just visually appealing numbers for some reason. I just liked it when I looked at it. So my favorite number for that part of my childhood was 47. And then I played football for like a year and a half, and they didn't give me the number I wanted. They're like, oh, will you write down your 5 favorite numbers, and then we'll go down the list, and if they're none of them available, then you're randomly assigned. Of course, I was randomly assigned one because I was a new kid, and they really didn't care about you anyway. So they gave me number 66. Growing up in Pittsburgh, you see 66, I think Mario Lemieux. That's a hockey number. Why would I want to be 66 and play football? That's not a cool football number. That's like the left tackle number. And what do? They made me play left tackle for 4 plays a game because that was like the team minimum. So that sucked. I didn't like that. Favorite number was still 47. I wanted to be 47. And then I quit football, started playing hockey in late 2007 is when that happened. Number 47 again, same deal. This time the organization had like 5 different teams for a certain age group, and I was on team 5 because I was like not a fast skater. I just started playing hockey again that year, so I was at the bottom of the barrel. I played a little bit when I was like way younger, but then you miss like 5 years of playing and everybody else is way ahead of you, so I was at the bottom of the barrel. They assigned me number 13. I didn't like that either. Now I think that's really not a terrible number. It's kind of cool. I could have ran with that. But this is a funny story here. I didn't want the 13. So my mom asked like the organization people, like, are there any numbers that aren't available? Like, what are the options? Because they did offer to change it if you didn't like it, if there was something came up. And out of the 5 teams in the organization, this is how many kids are playing hockey in that organization in Pittsburgh. It was the North Pittsburgh Wildcats, if anybody in that area plays hockey or knows anything about that. I remember sitting in front of the TV. It was like a Monday after school or something. My mom gets a call on the landline, and she says, oh, it's the hockey jersey people. They said there's 2 numbers available for you to choose from if you don't want to use number 13. And she said the open numbers are 69 and 85. 69. I could have been number 69. I was 12. Maybe I was 11 at that point. Yeah, that was the end of 2007. I was still 11 years old. I didn't know anything about 69. I was just like, 69, that's a stupid number. I didn't like any numbers in the 60s. I just thought 6 was like not the numbers in the 60s didn't really appeal to me ever. So I thought about it for like 0.2 seconds. And I told my mom, I said 85. I like 85 because the 8 and the 5, they look good next to each other. They're like similarly shaped, so that it just was more appealing number to me than 69. And my mom says, like, I think you should pick 69. Are you sure you don't want 69? Because it's kind of like Lemieux and Gretzky put together, because Murray Lemieux was 66 and Gretzky was 99. And I was like, no, I like 85. So that's what it was. And it wasn't until probably like 7 or 8 years later when I re-remembered that interaction, and I was just like, my mom tried to get me to pick number 69. Why? She'll deny this, but she did. I was going to be an 11-year-old kid playing hockey number 69, and that probably would have stuck with me. Once I figured out that it was funny, I probably would have kept it. I might be Stapleton42 right now had I listened to my mom, but I didn't. So I was 85 for the most of my hockey life. I switched teams to the Pittsburgh Amateur Penguins in like 2011, and they used the same exact jerseys as the Pittsburgh Penguins NHL team, which was cool. They were like the licensed youth team of the Penguins. So it was really cool to play for them. And I thought, if I'm going to get to do this, I'm going to wear the number of my favorite player, and I'm going to go all out. People call me a poser. I don't care. I'll just have to try harder to live up to it. So I picked 71 because I liked Evgeny Malkin. And I was like tall, lanky dude. People like compared the way I looked to him anyway. So like, I'm going all in. I'm going to be number 71 and just live this out. So I did that for a year, and it was fun. Then the organization, their affiliation with the Pittsburgh Penguins ended. They changed their name to like the Renegades or something stupid. All their jerseys changed, all that changed. So it was kind of an opportunity to change it again. And we go to the embroidery place where they're doing the jerseys to like place the order and stuff. And they said, what number do you want? And at this point, I was thinking, I want to be number 47. I've always wanted to be 47, and I couldn't do it. But I was also thinking, 42 is cool too, because playing the NHL video games, the player that came to mind that was number 47 was Alexander Radulov. And there was a guy who played for the New York Rangers at the time, named Artem Anisimov, and he was number 42. And the same thing. I thought it looked good on the jersey. I just looked at that red, white, and blue Rangers jersey, and I thought that 42 looks good on there. I could use 42. So I walked in there thinking, I want to pick 47 or 42, whichever one's available, because what are the odds that they both are? Well, we go there, and they're both available. And so I said, 47 or 42, and they look and they say, oh, they're both open. Which one do you want? And I was like, and then my dad said, pick 42 because it's Jeff Gordon backwards. So I said, all right, 42. And then I was number 42. Yeah, so I changed my Instagram and Twitter names from Stapleton71 to Stapleton42 to now match my new hockey number. And my Instagram never changed. I left it the same way. I used 42 for the rest of the time I played hockey in high school. And then the Escalade thing started growing, and that's what my username was, and I just kept it. And I sort of just never let the 42 go. It sort of stuck with me. And I never thought about it as being Jeff Gordon backwards. I like that comparison. And I didn't even know this, but my dad says his favorite number growing up was 24. Or when he was younger, I think the first time he was old enough to go to a casino, he went to a casino in Reno or something, played roulette. He just told me this story a few months ago. I didn't even know this. I thought he just used 24 for his usernames and stuff because he was a Jeff Gordon fan. Well, the guy said, pick a number. He said, I don't know. He said, how old are you? He said, I'm 24. So he said, all right, you're going to be 24. And he spun the thing and he won money. So he's like, oh, 42, that's my number. Or he said, 24, that's my lucky number now. I'm sticking to it. And then he goes to, he sold vacuum coating equipment. And DuPont was one of his customers. They bought equipment that he sold. So he ended up going to a DuPont hospitality event thing for the 1994 Daytona race in July, I think, was his first NASCAR race. And the DuPont driver's Jeff frickin' Gordon, and he's got my dad's favorite number on the car already. He goes to this hospitality tent and has fun at the race, and then he's hooked. He's a NASCAR fan, and Jeff Gordon's his guy. That's how that worked. When I was born, I was indoctrinated as a Jeff Gordon fan just because that's what my dad liked, but pretty much as soon as I could think for myself, I liked Dale Earnhardt. And then Dale died when I was 5, and this Kevin Harvick guy comes in to have to replace him. And I've always had this underdog complex, and I'm like, I'm drawn to the underdog. I just am. I don't know. Always been that way. But I remember thinking, oh, this 26-year-old dude has to replace Dale Earnhardt. That's going to be really hard. He needs fans. I'm going to be his fan. So I was a Kevin Harvick fan. And my dad supported that. He signed me up for his fan club and stuff. And yeah, so that's why this car. I was just telling a story about the origin of the 42. And I was getting to the end as to why that's why this car is 42, and that's why it has this paint scheme, because the Kevin Harvick scheme was my favorite back then, and this used to be my hockey number. And the last extra video I did, Shelby screwed that up too. Now she's 2 for 2 this week. Good job.
That's my fault. I brought her in here. She's just happy.
Well, she was honking a toy last time.
Oh.
And I have this hockey stick here that has my name and number on it. I took it from my dad's house one of the last few times we went up there, to have it here just as a symbol of the past world. Kind of funny because my dad said that when he was 24, that was the first year that he, after college, where he was able to make something happen and actually started making money. And the same thing happened for me. The YouTube channel grew in 2020 when I was 24, and that's when this whole thing really lit off. And you know what? Next year is 2024. So
it's gonna be a really
good
year.
I hope it's gonna be a good year. 2024 would be the first year that I race this car. What are the odds of that? And I was even thinking way back, the lineage of my favorite numbers of my entire life. The first time I ever drew a picture of a car that I was driving in the picture that was supposed to be me, it had 14 on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna guess you drew Jeff Gordon or something.
No, in that picture I was beating Jeff Gordon.
Oh.
It was this little thing that this is from first grade.
Is that the roll race thing picture?
No, it's a different one.
Oh.
This one was a little worksheet from first grade where it was a profile of me, and then at the end it had a crystal ball thing, and it said, what I see for my future. And I drew a little scene, and it said me, and it had a car, it said 14, it was crossing a checkered flag, and then an arrow that said Go Don with 24 on it behind it, like I was beating Jeff Gordon in a race. But I forgot the R because I was 7. So yeah, that was it. Thanks for the honking, Shelby. What are you working on today?
I have to make new pieces of metal to fit. I accidentally cut too much off the A-pillar, and now I have to make a new piece to fit where the A-pillar meets the window. Yep,
this is what you've been doing for probably the last 3 months. You go to the gym, you come home, eat, you get ready, you come out here in your overalls and poly work shirt, and then you work all day and finish up looking like a coal miner.
Yep, every day.
Every day. Shelby, you gonna go take a dump behind the car again?
Probably.
in full transparency, there is a dog turd or two behind this car right now, and I've been trying to not go over there to keep it out of frame, because Shelby doesn't like to ask me to go outside during the day.
She asks me though.
Yeah, she doesn't ask me. I don't know why. She'll ask me to come throw a ball. You gotta go pee? You go pee outside? Yeah.
She's gonna walk to the door, yeah.
Yeah, she has to go. All right, let's go pee outside. Thank you, everybody. Had a fun time. Extra Channel's gonna ramp up. Tell your friends. Anybody you were friends with who also watches our main channel, you send them this one too. Say, look at these guys, they're idiots. Something like that.
She's in the yard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back.
All right. Let me know in the comments what you want to hear a story about next, and I will sit down and do that maybe tomorrow. Maybe I can make this a daily thing, because it really doesn't take me that much time to do it.